Hello, good evening, and welcome. This is Joe Fritz, otherwise known as Paraptor Keat, and I just wanted to make a quick video to, chase that algorithm. At least I'm honest. Everyone's talking about Star Wars right now, so I just thought I'd do a quick drawing that's Star Wars related and talk about the newest Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. Personally, I like the movie. I know a lot of people don't, and I understand, not every movie's for you. And it's cool if you don't like it. But me personally, I thought it was really good. I like that it surprised me. I like that there was nothing in there that I saw coming. And I'm gonna spoil some stuff, so if you don't want any spoilers, maybe don't watch this video. But if you have seen it, welcome aboard. We're gonna talk about some of the stuff I liked in it. Because there's enough negativity on the internet, right? Let's just talk about what we like about the movie. The first thing I liked was Daisy Ridley's character was much less. She made some mistakes, and I think a lot of the criticism of the first movie was that she was a quote unquote Mary Sue, which I don't think she was a Mary Sue in the first movie. Mary Sue means self-insert. That's what Mary Sue means. It doesn't mean you're perfect at everything and that everyone likes you. It's a self-insert character. So the character in Ready Player One, that's the movie Ready Player One that's coming out, that is a Mary Sue, or whatever the male equivalent is. Um, uh, Ray is definitely not a Mary Sue, and even in that first movie, she's very unsure of herself in a lot of situations. She's like, she's behind the controls of the Millennium Falcon, going, "I can do this, I can do this." Clearly she's concerned that she can't do this, so she's not entirely perfect. And in this movie, she makes a lot of mistakes, and she has to kind of learn, and she's kind of on her own because Luke Skywalker isn't going to help her. I think that swerve of her handing him the lightsaber, him looking at it and throwing it over his shoulder was just great. And just the idea that Luke Skywalker's version of being just kind of aloof, the way Yoda was when Luke Skywalker discovers Yoda, and he's all goofy and stuff, and he's basically a Muppet. His way of doing that is just behaving like, no, the Jedi, I don't want to do anything with the Jedi. And then at least that's what I thought, and then it turns out no, he really doesn't want to train her to be a Jedi because it's too dangerous, and he's had some problems in the past, namely Ren, who he tried to train and turned out to be a big, nasty, bad guy, wannabe Darth Vader dude. So, Mark Hamill is great in this movie, and you really feel for him, and just the legend that is Luke Skywalker. It's so great because you're just you start to question whether or not maybe the original movies were part of a an like a unreliable narrator type thing, but no, that's probably not true. But it's just interesting that he's just this old guy who lives out in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, no, I'm done with all of this stuff because every time I try to affect something, I make it worse. And that is definitely a theme in this movie, that when you take action, there are consequences. And that's one of the things I like about this movie, is that most Star Wars movies don't really have an underlying theme or any sort of political or moral message. It's just a very almost juvenile attitude towards good and evil. Whereas this movie has references to the military-industrial complex, and how people are getting rich off of war, and that's the real problem with war. Is that when war becomes a business, and there are people underneath who are trying to egg it on, and they're a real problem. There's a whole sequence The whole sequence on that gambling planet, that I know a lot of people are kind of like weirded out by, and I was definitely weirded out by it when the scene first starts, and it's very like not your typical Star Wars shots going through the casino, and it felt a little weird. But I mean, that's what Star Wars is all about: is taking something as mundane as a dive bar and turning it into something alien. Um, Taking something as mundane as a Las Vegas casino, something you've seen in a dozen other movies, and then just adding a layer of just alien on top of it. And then, of course, there's a great message in there. And one of the new character, Rose, who I almost immediately fell in love with, has like the best line of the movie, where she's basically explaining like how this planet works and how there's child slaves and like all these people like made their money by selling weapons to not just the Empire, but also the rebellion. You know, these people are making money off war. They're egging the war on. They love that this war is going on because it's making them money. And she has the best line in the movie where she just says, "I want to punch a hole through the heart of this beautiful city." And I was just like, yeah, punk rock! And they do get a chance to just kind of mess up the city and stuff. And the whole time I'm like, yeah, stomp that space Rolls Royce with your enslaved racehorse thing, space horse, whatever, race space horse. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, this movie kind of takes some crazy swerves, and you know, Rey and Kylo Ren kind of have this weird space relationship going on that I was worried was going to turn romantic. I was like, oh god, don't do that. No, do not do that, movie. And of course, luckily it didn't. But Rey did try to turn Ren, and it appeared that the way that it just kind of appeared to be successful so early in like the second movie, I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And then the twist, of course, the real twist is that no, he's still evil, and probably like worse now, because now he doesn't have anyone holding him back. Basically, he is in charge now, and no one can stop him. And by going there and convincing him to kill Snoke, who, like, I've heard people say, like, we didn't get to find out who Snoke is. It's like, who cares? I didn't care who the Emperor was in the original trilogy, which is to say 4, 5, and 6. I didn't care who the Emperor was, and when they revealed who he was, it didn't matter anyways. It was just kind of lame and dumb. The same thing with... I could make the same argument with, you know, Rey's parents turning out to be literally no one. They're just nobody. And you know what? Any other answer than that wouldn't have been surprising. Like, oh, she's Obi-Wan's daughter, or oh, she's a Skywalker, or oh, whatever. She's Rey's hidden twin sister, or Kylo Ren's hidden twin sister, whatever. Any other answer, but no, her parents were nobody. They sold her for money. Would have been disappointing. The fact that she comes from nowhere and that she is developing this power as a kind of mirror to Kylo Ren's power, growing power, in order to balance things, because every action has a reaction. See, there's that theme going on again. And I just thought it was great that she comes to him, she convinces him to change his ways, but in doing so, she makes things worse. Not unlike how Luke, he wants to stop what's going to happen with Kylo Ren. He fires up that lightsaber in just a moment of weakness where he thinks he can change things, and it makes things worse, because now Kylo's like, he tried to kill me, so let's burn this temple down, and I'm going to run off with my Knights of Ren, who are probably going to show up in the third movie or something, I hope. Unless they were the ones in the Imperial Guard wearing red, which I hope they're not. I mean, they didn't seem to have any real like force powers. They just kind of had cool weapons. But anyways, I also wanted to talk about the late great Carrie Fisher. I thought she was great in this movie. She kind of had, a sidekick in the form of Laura Dern's character, and I thought they were both really good in this movie. A lot of people complaining about her using force powers. I don't understand it. I think it's cool to see Princess Leia actually using the force finally, and I think it's really cool. I thought it was another thing that took me through a loop because I kept waiting for the ball to drop on Princess Leia because I knew. I mean, Carrie Fisher died in real life, so clearly they're gonna kill off this character, and they didn't, which I thought was so great. I don't know what's going to happen with the third one. Obviously, they'll probably just have her in some kind of insert or CGI or whatever. But yeah, she was so great in this movie, and it's a shame that she won't be a bigger part of the third one. But yeah, and then of course Laura Dern's character. I kept thinking like, well, okay, she's going to kind of fill in the Carrie Fisher role, but she didn't. She turns. At first, she's like this total like. I mean, she was just kind of, well, for lack of a better term, just, a bitch. And I know that there's probably videos out there just complaining like, oh, this purple-haired SJW giving men's orders, but yeah, sometimes not listening to what somebody tells you to do can lead to bad things. So that was kind of Poe Dameron's story, is that he's like, he needs to learn not to jump into things. He needs to learn to really think about what's going on and how best to handle the situation. I don't know. It's just, I think people are wrong about her character. Obviously, we were, because it turned out that she was kind of right, and she also didn't feel too hung up about the whole mutiny thing, which I thought was kind of funny and cute. But when she turns that ship around and goes into hyperspace to sacrifice herself, I was just like, fuck. Because like at that point, I kind of liked that character. And yeah, when she just tore through that ship, yeah, oh man, that was just so awesome. The thing that's great about this movie is mostly the characters and the character development. A lot of the plot is a little weak, and I understand people's criticism of that. There's so much stuff in this movie that just doesn't go anywhere, and it's more just about the character and the character development than it is about anything else. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to wrap this up here. But I will say that just the final shot is something that just I, as a person who grew up with Star Wars, really appreciated. The final shot, these kids, playing, and then, guy comes in, tells him you need to get to work, and then the kid goes outside, he's looking up the stars, there's a shooting star, and he's standing there. It was really an emotional moment. These kids are playing Star Wars in a Star Wars movie. They're playing as Luke Skywalker and all this stuff. It's such a touching, beautiful moment, and a great send up to one of cinema's most classic characters, Luke Skywalker. This drawing, I just wanted to do something quickly, just to kind of get it out there. Obviously, Stormtrooper helmet is a very simple thing to do. I wanted to do it, something I could draw within 15 minutes. Obviously, I didn't draw it within 15 minutes because I sped it up here, but there you go. There it is. And then, of course, that's my Jar Jar Binks piggy bank. I've had that since episode 1 came out. Maybe some other time I'll explain my bizarre infatuation with Jar Jar Binks. But for now, thanks for watching.